We are on 126 in the Lo Taasehs, in the middle of Pesach, Korban Pesach related mitzvos. So we had just done the not eating it. Actually, let's go back to the beginning of the Korban Pesach ones. So we had starting from 120. Oh wow, actually there were a lot of them. 119, yeah. Yeah, not to leave over. Yeah, fine. We're not going to read all of them then. Yeah, right. So the most recent one was not to eat it raw or cooked. Then 126 is shelo laha'achil basar ha'pesach l'ger toshav, not to feed the basar ha'pesach to a ger toshav, which is an interesting one. Toshav v'sachir lo yochal bo. A resident and a hired worker should not eat it. Yeah, that's a strange one.
It's just a separate law.
Yeah.
I feel like that would just be part of like the dinim of who can eat it, not like a.
Yeah. Well, the weird thing is it's laha'achil, right? It's to feed to them. So I don't know what the Mishneh Isser is exactly.
Well, I think it's
giving to them with the intention of them.
Yeah, that'd be weirdly structured Isser though, right?
Well, they're not part of any chavurah.
Right. So is it if you appoint them to be part of the chavurah? Let me look it up in the Mishneh Torah. Hold on, I think here. Why am I not finding it in the Mishneh Torah? Toshav. Can I get another one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one doesn't.
I'm trying to look for it in the Mishneh Torah.
Yeah, I think the one that the binding doesn't work is the one that doesn't shed.
I'm not finding it in the halachos right now. I clicked on the hyperlink, but it looks like either he's wrong was concealing it, or it took me to the wrong place, or I'm just not seeing it. Yeah. Let me try a different route. Let me click on the pasuk, and then see if I can get there from there. I don't know if that's going to work. Well, actually, I can look at the pasuk and look at the Rambam. Go to Rambam to the rescue. Toshav. Okay, so this is on Memhe. Rambam says. Who ger toshav? So this is the toshav. Who asher kibel Allah shelo lavado zara kib zulase lo naniach osalisha ba'aretz. Fine. Okay. The sachir who ha'eved ein gufo kanoi. So sachir in this context means an eved whose body is not his own. V'hine limita osan hatorah she'afa pi sheyihiu hatoshav v'sachir mulin. So this is telling us that even though they have been circumcised, I don't know why ger toshav would be circumcised, but whatever, it's this thing. Lo yutar lanu laha'achil min pesach. It's not permitted for us to feed them the Pesach. So from here we also learn that an eved that we the first one was eved whose goof is not kanui, but an eved whose goof is kanui, it is mutter for us to feed him from the Pesach. He was more connected to our emuna than a toshav hasachir, because I guess once he becomes free, then he becomes Jewish. Yeah, so he doesn't say what the Mishneh Isser is. Yeah. I also remember there being a question once of if you're a ger toshav, is it usher for you to eat the Korban Pesach? It's not one of the Shemeshos Bnei Noach.
Right.
You know, like it's right.
An
interesting question though. Yeah. I don't know.
Wait, so what's the Mishneh?
No, we didn't, and I can't figure out where it is in the Rambam. If you want to look in the index, see if that helps. Not you can't do it.
Right.
Gotcha. But if you look at Korban Pesach and if you look in Korban Pesach, no, the index in the back of the Rambam.
Well,
no, not there. The complete index.
I don't know where it is.
You'll see it with lots of topics. Yes. So look, if you look under Korban Pesach, then
I think I've got that.
Yours is not as complete.
Okay.
Yours is like 6 pages, and his is like 30 pages.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Take that.
Well, at least mine doesn't shed.
Yeah.
What am I looking at?
Ger Toshav. Under it should be under Korban Pesach. Or Toshav Pesach here. Maybe I should get one also.
Yeah, there's korbanos, and that's where Pesach is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. No, mine has it under Pesach. Achilaso. It doesn't have Ger Toshav. Let me look under Ger Toshav. Yeah. Tzedek Ger Toshav. Not seeing it. All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to look. I'll check in the Minyan and Mitzvos here, but if not, I'll have to look at home in the other good volume of this thing. What are we on? 126. Ger Toshav Goy Shekibel. No, he doesn't define it here either. Don't know. All right, so
Flag?
what?
Flag it?
Flag it. Yep. Okay. Next, 127. Shlo Yochal, or is it Yeyachel? It's Yochal. Okay. Shlo Yochal Arel Basar Pesach. The uncircumcised person should not eat the Basar Pesach. Shneimar Kol Arel Lo Yochal Bo. Any uncircumcised person should not eat it. 128. Shlo Lahachil Basar HaPesach L'Yisrael Shenish Tamed. That you shouldn't feed the Basar Pesach to a Jew who apostatized. Shneimar Kol Ben Echar Lo Yochal Bo. Yeah, so this is the weird. Ben Echar usually means non-Jew. Here it means a Jew who became an apostate to a avodah zarah. Klomer Yisrael shenilve libnei hanechar. He explains that. Klomer Yisrael shenilve libnei nechar. No, nilve is like Levi, like hapam yilave ishelai, like a company or a escort or attached. So a Yisrael who has attached himself to the bnei nechar avad avodah zarah kamosam lo yochal bo. He cannot eat it. He worships avodah zarah. Yeah.
That's before the pasuk? I mean, after the pasuk? Like you would think you would explain what it means.
Well, I think he probably explained it in reaction to the pasuk. Like you would read it and you'd be like, Kol ben nechar, but that's a non-Jew. And he's like, oh, this means to say a Jew who, yeah. I do think it's interesting, by the way, that it's like that he doesn't formulate the mitzvah as a Yisrael who worshipped avodah zarah. Like I don't know what the standards are here. I don't know if you did a mitzvah, because nishtamid to me implies you converted to another religion, you know.
Right.
And I think that's how he defines meshumad in Hilchos Tshuva. So I don't know if it's if you do get invalidated for one ma'aseh avodah zarah or not. 129. Shelo yochal adam shnitma kachim. So a person who became tameh should not eat kachim. So now we're past the Pesach, the unique Pesach thing. Shneimar nefesh asher tochal basar mizavach hashlamim asher lad Hashem v'tumaso alav. Oh, you know what? Hold on. I can click Nikudos. Oh, there you go. Oh, Torah. So I guess now I can know it's yochal. Yeah. So he shouldn't eat kachim if he became tameh, right? As it says, the soul who will eat the basar mizavach hashlamim. That it belongs to Hashem, his tumah is upon him.
I think we're done with Korban Pesach.
What?
We're done with Korban Pesach, at least for now.
Yeah. Did I not just say that? Oh, I did. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I wasn't sure. You caused me a question whether I just thought it or said it. 130. You should not eat kachim that have become tameh. Oh, good. The nekudos came in handy. Lo ye'achel.
That's the meaning. You can't. The first one was you can't be tameh, but now the kachim can't.
Yeah, I guess if you eat kachim that are tameh, then that's usher.
So you have to burn them if they're.
I assume so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you can't eat them, you probably have to burn them.
Got it.
131. Shlo lechol nosar shneimar v'ochlav avano yisa v'nichosah nefesh hahi. To not eat nosar, as it says, those who eat it, one who eats it, his iniquity he shall bear, and that soul shall be cut off. Shlo lechol pigul shneimar.
It's not the where it says that punishment, not where the. I'm remembering that there's a distinction between the ashara and the source or the
And the punishment.
punishment, right?
Yeah.
So I thought it was that the ashara was like the source of the isser, and punishment is
Just a requirement in order to be able to punish. Yeah, that's true. So you're saying here he doesn't.
Here,
He only says the punishment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, I haven't been keeping track of whether he's done that consistently or not. I don't think he has either. Yeah. שלא לאכול פיגול, שנאמר המקריב עושה לא ייחשב לו פיגול יהיה, והנפש האוכלת ממנו עוונה תישא והוא בקרס. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
Interesting. 133, שלא יאכל זר trumos. A zar should not eat trumos. שנאמר וכל זר לא יאכל kodesh. Okay.
That's also curries.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Interesting.
He
didn't say. Yeah, it's been inconsistent when he mentions the punishment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this wasn't, as far as I know, the source was it. Again, as far as like when he quoted at least, he didn't quote the curries if it is the possibility that mentions curries.
Right. I didn't realize it was a kares for eating truma.
Yeah, that's why for demai is where you don't know if they took masros. But there's an assumption that they're going to take trumos because that's cars. But masros is just a law, so maybe they're not.
So on let me just read it in the Sefer Mitzvos here. Shehizir kol zar me'ochel truma v'hu amru kol zar le'ochel kodesh v'ratza b'kodesh ze truma u'bikurim shem nikraim truma. Okay, fine. Zerat amru kol truma im achal truma b'zadon chayav misa b'dei shemayim, not kares, according to the Rambam.
Okay,
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I know. I don't know them by memory, but I didn't remember this one on the list, and because it's a thing that default assumption of is that high school girls will assume that any avera they do they get kares for. So then at some point in the year, someone always asks like, "You mean you don't get kares for blah blah blah?" And then I have to go through the list of all the things that have kares, and I don't remember that being on it. I could be wrong though. So
Okay,
yeah. And it could be machlokas. I mean,
I learned it like independent of the list. I remember it was very severe thing. I thought it was curries.
I mean, the thing that doesn't fit the very severe thing that I do remember from the list is no star and pigul. So it would stand to reason that if no star and pigul are like that, then maybe this would also be like that.
Yeah. Those are curries, right?
Those are kares. Yeah.
What do the high school girls think kares is?
I asked them, and so here's the weird thing: is like a lot of them will the go-to answer is you're cut off from the Jewish people, and then I asked them what does that mean, and they don't know, and so I think a lot of them do think it is premature death because I think that's what's taught because that's what Rashi holds,
Doesn't the Gemara say?
Yeah. I think that's the standard assumption, but then sometimes you get someone who knows that what the Rambam holds that your soul is cut off from Olam Haba, but then I go through my the article on the I wrote on the Bravanel with the 7 shitos of what kares are because he summarizes it, and there might be more, but those are the 7 shitos that he summarizes. Yeah, what is it? I think it's like so premature death, or your children die if you childlessness, or your children die if like you have children. That's why like in the Al Chaitz we say Shachayim Aleim kares v'ariri, and ariri is like childlessness, but then the Rambam does not say ariri because he doesn't hold that kares is childlessness.
Wouldn't that mean kares is not ariri because you say both?
So I think so if you hold kares is that you don't have kids, like that you will not have kids, then if you did have kids, then your kids would die. So it's like it's one category. Then there's death before you become like 40 or something like that, like specifically. And then there's like death on the 3rd day of a terminal illness. And then there's Ramam is your soul's cut off from Olam Haba. And then there's the Ramban who holds that there's like 3. Let me just look at this up. Hold on. See if I can get them right. It's important for us to know what kares is if he's mentioning it.
Could you intentionally do something that would get you kares if you hold that the punishment is that you wouldn't have kids in case you want to for sure not have kids? Or would it be like, doing something planning to do tshuva where it doesn't work?
No, I think it would work. I think Yisurim work like that. Yeah, and I would advise that person just to like there are other ways, but your question stands.
Also, would that be over this or close to housing? Testing whether
oh, Snazzy, yeah, that's funny. That's interesting.
You're sure it's gonna work.
So Sadiq and Ezra hold that it's premature death. Rashi holds that it's premature death of the sinner and premature death of his children. Tosfos hold. By the way, this is not me looking at them independently. This is my. This is what the Abravanel summarized them as. So it could be that there's different sheets on how these are learned out. Tosfos hold it's died before reaching the age of 50. Okay, sorry. This is a weird one. Tosfos holds is they'll die before they reach the age of 50, but if you're chayav misdei b'shamayim, you'll die before the age of 60. So it's just weird that there are those two categories there.
Better if you're also.
Like Karis is more severe than Miseh B'dei Shemayim, yeah. And the big question, by the way, on the premature death shita is then what is the difference between Miseh B'dei Shemayim and Karis?
Well, Tosfos answered.
Right. But let's say like Sadiq and Ezra,
right.
Yeah. Another Tosfos shita in Tosfos is dying from illness on the third day of the illness. Rambam is your soul is cut off from Olam Haba. Ramban holds that there's this is the complex one. There are three shitos. Three types of kares. So if your zechuyos outweigh your avonos, then kares is physical in terms of premature death. If your avonos outweigh your zechuyos, then you get your soul being cut off from life in Olam Haba and Gan Eden. Okay, and that's like the Rambam, but Ramban has this whole Gan Eden thing as being part of Olam Haba. And then the most severe form of kares is if you do avodah zara, or blasphemy, or Mecharef Mugadef, then you die prematurely and you get cut off from Olam Haba and Gan Eden. And then the Abravanel holds that there's the effects of kares are in Olam Hazeh and Olam Haba. In Olam Hazeh, your life is cut short, and in Olam Haba, your soul is, quote, distance from the radiance of the Shekhinah. I don't know what his shita is on that. So your reward is diminished as well in Olam Haba. Yeah. Okay. So those are the shitas I'm familiar with. I keep on meaning to look and see if there's a list that was like made after the Abravanel where others are included. I'm sure if you look in Encyclopedia Talmudit, they probably have a good list there. I just haven't done that.
This might be very off topic, and if you think it's too long of an answer,
it's a Bekius. We can go off topic.
Yeah. Does the Rambam hold that it's a natural thing, kares?
My understanding is yes, but it's not. I don't think he says it explicitly. Like I think just based on the way he learns the mechanism of what Olam Haba is, I think you'd have to say kares is something where like you are attaching yourself to like a fundamentally false idea that would affect your soul in a way where you wouldn't get Olam Haba.
Mm-hmm.
But
doing the action wouldn't necessarily attach you to that idea.
Right, but I guess it depends on. So I mean, this is part of the whole shita about the Rama, the whole Rambam shita of what gets you Olam Haba. Because like in the Mishneh Torah, he says it's your actions and your knowledge, and in the more Nevuchim, he seems to imply that it's really just your knowledge. Mm-hmm. So then, the question is, how do you reconcile those two things? And like one approach that people take is your actions like are both a reflection of your ideas and also like reflect your ideas. And I think there are ways, I don't know if this works for all the kares things, but let's say, for example, I think you could make a reasonable argument that if you do an action that, let's say, for example, chametz is chayav kares, eating chametz on Pesach is chayav kares, and not doing the korban Pesach is chayav kares, because the ideas that are testified to by those mitzvos are ikarim, right? God's existence and his knowledge and his hashgacha and all that. Mm-hmm. So once this becomes the symbol of affirming those ideas, and violating this isser becomes the symbol of denying those ideas, then I think you can make the argument that if you ate chametz intentionally, knowing that chametz is associated to Yetzias Mitzrayim, that is an act of repudiating those ideas. Mm-hmm. So you could ask that guy, well, that guy can tell you, oh no, I really do believe in Yetzias Mitzrayim. Well, if you believed in it, then you wouldn't do this,
Well, why? He just doesn't like the symbol or whatever. Doesn't. Right,
but I don't know if it's like when you have. This is a bad analogy, but like if you have someone who like burns the American flag in public, right? So it doesn't really matter. Like the fact that symbol in America is a representation of the values of America. So it's like if you do an action that has been defined as the way to demonstrate your affirmation or denial of these ideas, then like it almost doesn't matter what you actually like say about it. I realize that that's a difficult argument to make, but this is part of the challenge of like trying to work in according to the Rambam, you can understand if you deny God or deny one of the Ikarim, then your soul doesn't have existence. But how do you tie it to actions?
Right.
Yeah. So I'm really not sure.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a mysterious thing. And also is, look, given the fact that everyone else seems to hold that Karis has something to do with Olam Hazeh, the Rambam shifts it entirely into Olam Haba and does seem to go against he Karis, T-Karis. I mean, there's all these arguments you can make from quoting Chazal, but he Karis Olam Hazeh, T-Karis Olam Haba, sounds like both, that's where the Rav-Nel's argument is, I think. Yeah, it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, never had a good handle on that. I've never had a good handle on that question. Yeah. Okay. 34. Yeah. Shlo yochal afilu toshav kohen.
What?
Wait, that can't be like a ger toshav kohen.
Shlo
Shlo yo.
who's living with the Kohen.
Maybe. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Shlo yochal afilu. Toshav kohen uskir truma. Toshav kohen v'sachir lo yochal kodesh.
Right.
I just want to see this in the Sefer Mitzvos.
Well, Gusha for me, I totally did not know that Ger Toshav is associated with specific people.
Yeah, yeah, it is weird. It's not a common thing that you have mitzvos that specify that. But okay, yeah. How does it say it here? Oh, it's a short Sefer Mitzvos. 134. Yeah, a priest's tenant or hired servant eating truma. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I guess. See, but that's an issur on them eating it.
Yeah.
So it can't. Yeah, it's got to be a. This is okay. It's got to be. Can't be a non-Jew, right?
I guess it could be a Jew here. It could be. A tenant sounds like someone who's renting space from the Kohen.
Right, but yeah, and that's the word toshav fits into that definitely. But let me look in the halachos. Okay.
It's part of the household.
Hazar aser lechol trumos shnemar v'chozar lo yochol kodesh. Afilu haya toshav kohen usachiro shnemar toshav kohen v'sachir lo yochol kodesh. Toshav is sachir olam. Sachir is sachir shanim. Vivid ivri harihu ketoshav v'sachir. So toshav is someone who you hire forever. Was that like a butler?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a category. Sachir olam. It's not an eved. I mean, that's not an eved. That's not a sachir, right? Yeah.
It's like a live-in nanny or something.
Yeah, I guess so. And then sachir in the pasuk is sachir shanim, so you hire for a couple of years. And then eved ivri harihu ketoshav v'sachir. So he would be included in that, an eved ivri. Yeah. Okay. There you go. But I'm guessing that these are Jewish people, though. Then not a ger toshav. Yeah. Okay. 135. Shlo yochal arel truma. An arel should not eat truma. Huadin l'shar kachim. Same thing for other kachim. Ooh, long thing. Limdo hakasav mina pesach b'gezerah shava. So this is learned from the pesach as a gezerah shava. Eno b'feiros mina Torah. It's not explicitly from the Torah. M'pia shmuel lamdu she'isur arel b'kachim migufei Torah. Eno midivrei sofrim. Is to justify it here. So it's Torah Shabbat Peh tells us that the issur of arel and kachim is one of the principles of Torah itself. Is not midorabanan. Okay, I bet he has to say that because I bet the Bahag says otherwise.
Also, because he says makes a comment about droshos being derabanan, something. So the fact that this is coming into Shabbat means you have to justify it being counted as one of the mitzvahs. Right,
that's true. Yeah, that's a good point. Even though he doesn't mention those rules in the Mishneh Torah. All right, 136. Shlo yochal kohen tamei truma. Shnemar ish mizarcha b'kachim lo yochal. Okay, fine. Interesting. This is an example where he quotes the pasuk. Is this where he quotes the pasuk wrong? This is a whole question in the Rambam about whenever he quotes a pasuk, when he misquotes a pasuk. Let's see. So the pasuk says, "Ish mizer Aaron, v'hu tzarua o zav bakachim lo yochal ad asher yitar v'hanogeh b'chol tamei nefesh o ish asher teitze b'meno shecha zera." So did it have the phrase "ish mizaracha"? No, it didn't. Right?
Yeah,
Mizera Aaron. Yeah. Yeah. So I've heard different explanations for have you heard about when the Rambam like misquotes a pasuk?
I've heard one explanation that in the context I heard of, the person was like knocking it, kind of.
Yeah. In what sense?
It's that he intentionally misquoted so that you know that you can't, like, he intentionally misquotes in like 5 places so you know that you can't do like quotation small pet or something.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. It was like,
I too would mock that.
yeah.
Yeah, because I've heard people say that he didn't have access to Torah B'Ksav at all times. And that doesn't make any sense because he was constantly revising the Mishneh Torah throughout his life. And I doubt that no one would have brought these to his attention, you know?
Yeah, and also if you could like double check his psukim, like.
Yeah, it's very easy. Yeah.
You have to say that he never had access to.
Yeah, right. And then I've heard other people give arguments in particular cases that he's intentionally misquoting it, and they explain why, like halachically, it made sense for him to misquote it, or like philosophical ideas. And those are also, like, I've heard some good arguments, but it's hard to, I've never been satisfied with that because you can't misrepresent Dvar Hashem.
Yeah, it's hard to justify.
Well, if you're
intentional misquotation for any reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you're expressing if you're expressing a truer idea of the mitzvah, then that would be.
It still is disingenuous to Shenamar.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah,
if he was like weaving a pasuk into his speech, you know, then I'd be fine with that. But
Minyan does it all the time.
Yeah.
He'll make like a pun on a pasuk. He won't say.
Right, the Rishonim do that all the time in general. It's like a style thing. Yeah.
Yeah, he won't say that this is what the pasuk says.
Yeah.
He'll just take the lashon and use it.
Right. Yeah, don't know what to make of that. Okay, 137, Shlo tochal chalala kodesh. So chalala cannot eat kodesh, lo trumos v'lo chaze vashok. Neither trumos nor the chest and the thigh, right, of the animal. Shnemar uvas kohen kisihi leish zar, he betrumas hakachim he sorry kisihi leish zar he betrumas hakadashim lo yosochel. A daughter of a Kohen, when she will be for a man who's a zar, in the truma of kachim she shall not eat. Of the truma of kachim she shall not eat. 138, shelo te'achel minchas Kohen. A minchas Kohen shall not be eaten, right? Is that's te'achel? Shnemar b'chol minchas Kohen kalil ti'eh lo te'achel. What does that mean? Like, it's Isra for the things like Isra chafta, like.
Ola, I guess.
Well, if it's in, this, is it
Well,
busha?
Busha, I have no idea what it's talking
Yeah, me neither.
I don't know anything about melachos.
Me neither.
I don't know if
Well,
that's.
it's flour. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's flour and oil, and it can't be more than 60 sa. Because that's past that.
So
size.
in the Sefer Mitzvos, he translates it as Shehizirenu mi le'echol minchas Kohen. So maybe he just said te'achel because the pasuk said te'achel. Yeah, I don't know. 139 shlolechol basar chataos hanasos bifnim. Shnemer b'chol chatas asher yuva midama.
Maybe minchas Kohen is like they said, it's just burned. It's not.
Yeah, could be.
It's sort of eat it because it's sort of eat something that's supposed to be for korban.
Could be. I can look it up. The link it took me to is not clear where in the parak it is. All right. Yeah. So this one though, what does it mean? A chatas hanasas bifnim. Anyone know?
No.
139.
Any constitution from its blood.
From what?
From its blood.
Oh yeah, that's what it looks like. Oh no, hold on. Eating meat of the sin offerings whose blood has been brought within the sanctuary. By this prohibition, priests are forbidden to eat the meat of those sin offerings which have to be offered in the sanctuary. Okay, fine.
I have no idea what.
But as opposed to.
It's so maybe personal chatas isn't the other chatas are.
That's what I don't know, right? Aren't they all?
Maybe it's like special chatas, so let's say like like the content of the tzibor for part of the
Yeah, could be. Wow, I'm out of my depth here. Definitely getting busha. Kuf mem shelo lechol pesuli hamukdashin shehutal behem mum bekavana, not to eat things that were puzzle, that were hekdesh, that were blemished on purpose. Shnemar lo sochal kol toeva. You shall not eat any abomination. This should have been above with all the mum stuff, right?
Yeah.
What
I mean, this isn't Isrei Achila, that's true, but this could have been up there.
Yeah.
The Isrei Achila of Kachim, I guess.
I think it makes more sense here.
Yeah.
Rather, because that would be more of like a halachos thing. This is
Yeah, that's true.
Catholic mitzvah
Right.
thing.
Wait, so this is after you brought it, it got a move?
No,
Or
then
they brought it
then
and-
you have a korban, and normally if the korban gets a mum, like
Yeah.
the mum happens to it, then you can eat it. But if you
Okay.
intentionally,
Moved it.
if you're not on the mum in it,
It's like a delectable lamb. Whoops. Yeah.
Right. That's
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm starting to realize also it's like there are an equal number of ma'achalos asuros that have to do with mikdash as there are like in Hilchos ma'achalos asuros, you know? Look at all these. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I had no idea this was
Yeah. So shelo lechol ma'aser sheni shel dagan chutz liYerushalayim shneimar lo suchal lechol bisharachad ma'aser daganacha. Not to eat ma'aser sheni of produce or grain outside of Yerushalayim, as it says, you cannot eat in your gates ma'aser daganacha.
It's really says dog, right? Well, it's like,
Yeah, you made the same point last time. It said dagan, right? That it's really produce.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I switched my translation just now. Kufman beis shlo lechol ma'aser sheni shel tirosh chutz liYerushalayim. Tirosh is wine,
Oh.
right?
Oh, okay.
Or yeah, right. I always forget mix up between tirosh and yatar, but I think tirosh is wine and yatar is oil, right? Remember tiroshacha, and then the next one shlo lechol ma'aser sheni shel yatar chutz liYerushalayim shneimar v'yitzharecha.
And that's wait, what was it? Sorry, didn't hear.
Tirosh is wine.
Yeah, and Yitzhar is
And Yitzhar, let me just make sure this is true. I know we say it in the Shema every day. I just,
oh yeah.
and it's in the same way as like, I feel like, I don't do this, but I feel like there are people who mix up Almana and Yasom.
Oh.
You know, like, you know that one of them means widow and one of them means, yeah.
Yeah.
So 142 is wine. That's what I said, right? Yeah,
It's
Tirosh.
like, it's like makes it like Irish and show that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I think the way I remember for Yitzhar, and I don't know if this has anything to do etymologically with it, is Saharayim is when it's starting to get dark, and I think of a burning oil to like make it light. Yeah, I don't know if that's actually true. I'm curious now. I just want to look it up in the Concordance or the Milon.
If you have too much oil, you're gonna have high cholesterol. It's gonna
Okay, so the dictionary
When
here,
you're a child.
yeah.
Yitzhar, fresh oil.
Hmm.
That's its own,
That's it.
yeah,
It's a good mnemonic.
yeah. Sahar, yeah, I guess the shorish means to press out oil.
Is that where Tzoharaim comes from?
That's what I'm saying. As I have that as a mnemonic device, but I don't know if there's actually a.
Because the sun went up and now it's being pressed back down.
The word Saharayim is in it's in Tehillim, right? Yeshud Saharayim in 91.
Yes,
I think.
of course.
No, isn't it? It's one we say it frequently. Yoshib B'Seser. Isn't it that one? Miketev Yeshud Saharayim.
I'm always so focused on just trying to finish it in time. To date, I never have.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world. Let me look at it here. Okay, Katzaharim. I just need one instance of Tzaharim. Okay, Erev Avokav Tzaharim. That's a pasuk I just
I think it's
found.
afternoon. I think it means like the noon time or something.
Yeah, but what I'm looking for is it from the Shoresh? So if I click on it and Sohar, yeah, midday, but yeah, I'm not getting an answer from here. Not sure. Also means a roof. That's what I thought, right? Sohar Tase Lateva. That also keeps in Keeps out light. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we can ask that the guy I got the article from, what his theory is. Oops, I closed my Sefer Mitzvos. No. What would be the easiest way to get this back?
Just too embarrassing.
Yes. I can't read it. It's closed. All right, I guess I have to open it up again. Oh, there, I got it again. Okay, good. Where are we at now? 143. Yeah. Not wait. Or those are the two we just did?
Yeah,
Oh, the two we just, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if like those three together means all monster shady or something.
Yeah, could very well be. I don't know. I'm embarrassed. Not to eat an unblemished bechor outside of Yerushalayim. Shneimar lo suchal ... uvechoros. Okay. 145. Shlo yochlu hakohanim chatas va'asham chutz la'azara. That the kohanim should not eat the chatas and asham outside of the azara. See, that sounds not in this category, whatever this category is, right? This sounds like it's going more closer. I feel like we started in Mikdash and we're going outwards because we were talking about like Meiser and stuff. And this is also about kohanim again. I feel like we had the kohanim stuff earlier. Shneimar lo suchal b'kar chavetzonecha. מפי לנו שלא בא הכסף אלא לאסור בשר חטאוס משמש חוץ לאזרה, כפי שכל דבר שיאכל חוץ למקום אכילתו לא סוכל לאכול בשעריך אקרא בו. Well, that's okay. So from the Torah we learn that the pasuk is only coming to prohibit meat of chatas and shamas outside of the azara, because anything that is eaten outside of the place of its eating, then we call it lo suchal lechol bisharecha. All right, weird.
Wait, what? I don't get that. What? We don't eat it in its.
I think he's bothered by the fact that the pasuk that he quotes just says lo suchal lechol bisharecha, and
you don't eat it in your
yeah.
Dates. Whatever that means.
Right, and so he's saying that anything that is eaten outside of its place of eating, we put in that category.
Okay,
yeah.
Like
146.
Everything outside of the
The
house.
chavurah. Oh, okay. Shelo lechol basar ha'ola, not to eat the meat of an ola. Shneimar lo suchal v'chol nadarcha asher tidor. Klomer lo suchal lechol nadarecha asher tidor. V'zo hi ashara shel chol mo'el shelo yihane min hakachim ha'asurim lehanos mehen v'imnehen ma'al. So is this the issur of me'ilah? Stam?
Yes.
That's what it sounds like he's saying, right? Did we have me'ilah earlier?
No.
No.
I don't think so.
Shlo-
Because of basar ola?
That's what it sounds like he's saying, right? Shelo lechol basar ha'ola.
This is the Zuhilazar.
Yeah, this is, yeah. But the route it takes is funny, right? So he says not to eat the basar of the olah. The pasuk talks about your nidarim, and then he says, meaning to say, don't eat from your nidarim that you are noder. And then that, he says, then by the way, this is for all mo'el, that you shouldn't be nehen and not even eating from kachim that are also to get hana from. You nehen all. Yeah.
It's very interesting, like the focuses that he had. Like, I don't know, like that nether is somehow like the most essential kind of like kachim.
Yeah, I always think of neder as like a very, very far off in terms of these primary categories of korbanos. Yeah.
Like eating from the tummy. That's like.
Yeah, that's an ola. Yeah. Yeah.
Not a nether.
Yeah, strange.
Or like eating from a platform or something.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, who wants to do that?
I was thinking like stealing like
It doesn't have any
a gold bowl or something.
Yeah, yeah. I think I also tend to think of it more in terms of property than korbanos.
Yeah.
By the way, I am definitely getting an overwhelming sense here about how many of these mitzvahs are not relevant nowadays.
Yeah. I shudder to think of what they color coded.
Yeah, I was wondering if you're going to make one for this also.
I don't know.
Yeah. Kufim zayin shlo lechol basar kachim kalim kodem zrikas damam. Not to eat the meat of kachim kalim before you sprinkle the blood. Shneimar lo suchal ... v'nidvosecha. Kolomar lo suchal lechol nidvosecha ad yizarik damam. Not that you cannot eat your donations, right, until you sprinkle the blood. This is another thing I haven't noticed in the Pesukim of the phrasing the isurim as lo suchal, you cannot, as opposed to like don't. Yeah. No, lo suchal like with the achol. Lo suchal, you may not, you cannot, as opposed to like don't. Like just phrase it in terms of the verb. Lo yochal, don't eat. Not lo suchal le'echol.
Right.
Oh,
That's weird.
Yeah. 148. Shalol yochal zar basar kadshe kadshin. So a zar cannot eat the meat of kadshe kadshin. Shneimar v'sar lo yochal ki kodeshem. See, that's how you say an isser. Lo yochal. All right. 149. I'm not telling God how to say these terms. Shlo yochal kohen bikurim kodam hanacha ba'azara. Kohen cannot eat bikurim before they are placed in the azara. We all know this one, right? No, this is not like I have no idea what this is. Shama lo suchal ustrumas yadecha.
I think you bring it to the Mikdash, and then
He's just really eager to eat those bikurim.
yeah, and the Kohen does something.
Yeah.
I don't know what he did.
The other thing I'm realizing here is how, I mean, I knew this in intellectually, but like how many of these mitzvahs are just for kohanim. Or just the kohanim are the only ones who have to worry about them. A lot of slogging through 150. Shlo lechol meiser sheni betuma v'afilu b'Yerushalayim achi padesh. Nemar lo v'arti mimeno b'tameh. Cannot eat meiser sheni in a state of tuma, even in Yerushalayim, until it is redeemed, as it says, I did not remove from it.
It's the meiser sheni that becomes something, I think.
Oh, that becomes something?
Because you're doing pidyon.
Okay. 151. Shlo lechol meiser sheni b'aninus. That's, I think, is this dafka aninus or is it even avelus? I didn't eat it in a state of aninus.
Seems like aninus.
Yeah, it does. I just not, for some reason, something's making me doubt that. Let me just look. What number is that?
51.
51. Shizir milachal meiser sheni ba'aninus v'hu amru yisrael lo chalti ba'oni v'lashon ha-mishnah b'bikurim shem meiser v'bikurim tu'uni havas malkam v'tu'unas vidu v'asarim la'onein. I guess we do learn that from Aaron, who's an onain. Yeah, fine. I guess aninus. Okay. Next. Shalo 152. Shalo lahoti demei meiser sheni bishar dvarim she'en b'hem achilo shasiya. You cannot spend, right, the money of meiser sheni on other things that don't have achila and a shasiya. Shneimar v'los nasati mimenu l'meis. I did not give it to the dead. Choshu chutz l'tzarchei guf achai nasati mimenu l'meis ekra bo. That's an interesting way to refer to it. Yeah. That would be an example, by the way, where like the Torah B'chasaf is clearly like saying an idea by framing this in terms of I didn't give it to the dead, when really all it means is like not spending on achila and shasiya. Like that could have definitely been formulated in different ways.
Yeah.
153 shelo lechol tevel. Tevel hu adavar shegidulav min haaretz v'hachayet betrumos u'maisros shlo hotzi mimeno trumas Hashem. So it's untithed produce that grew from the ground, right? That's how you translate tevel. Shnemar lo yichalu as kodesh b'nei Yisrael is asher yarimu l'Hashem. You shall not desecrate the sanctified things of Bnei Israel that they tithe to Hashem. Klomar dvarim sheim asidim laharim osan l'Hashem. Things that are in the future will be tied to Hashem. Lo yasu osan chol. You should not make them chol. V'yochlu osan b'tivlan, and eat them in their state of untevel.
Define tevel before, like it's funny that it's just like weird that he said both, like either like shelo lechol blah blah or shelo lechol tevel, and just stop there.
Yeah, right. He hasn't consistently defined his terms.
Right. Like there are plenty of things we don't know.
Yeah. That's why we have to look at stuff. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think tevel is even an issue for kohanim. Like even though they're going to I think like even kohanim has to separate out trumos.
That you're not saying that to explain why he defines it, though, right?
No.
Okay. 154. Oh, did I? No, 154, right? Yeah. Shelo lahaktim truma la bikurim. Should not do truma before bikurim.
Yep.
Okay. V'lo meiser rishon la truma, and not do meiser rishon before truma. V'lo meiser sheni la rishon, not sheni before rishon. Ela motziin al seder. You have to do it in order. Bikurim tchila ve'achkach truma gedola ve'achkach meiser rishon ve'achkach meiser sheni. Shnemar meliyasachav dima'achal lo sa'acher. Klomar lo ta'acher davar haroy lahakdimo. So I never. Again, that's another puzzle that I've read, never thought about ever. And I always just, in my mind, translate as you shall not delay, not you shall not like place out of order.
Yeah, I didn't know this was Isser until I learned it in Trumos.
Yeah.
There's this whole machlokas about whether if you do an Isser, is it, if you do an Isser that is to accomplish something, is it effective or not? Which is, machlokas to exist.
Right.
Yeah.
Halacha operates independently.
Yeah.
Shlo la'acher. See, now this is literally shlo la'acher, right? This next one.
Yeah.
Lo la'acher hanadarim hanadavos shenadav v'neshenadav. You shouldn't delay the nadarim and nadavos that you were nodar nadav. Shemar lo sa'acher lo shalamo.
Same word.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the flip side of
The-
the Mason Shema.
Yeah. Okay. Shlo la'alos lachog below korban. You should not ascend to festivate without a korban. Shnemar lo yira'u fanai rekam. You should not appear before my presence empty-handed.
Well, I've heard that last like
We,
billion times.
yeah, we say it in Musaf, I think. I think that's probably where we hear it most. Yeah.
And it didn't occur to me that it's
Empty-handed.
not bringing a korban.
Yeah.
Coming empty-handed.
Yeah, right. Literally. Yeah. 157. Shalolav all devarim she'asar adam al nafsho. Oh, so now we're getting into neder stuff, maybe a little bit. Nope. And then going after that. Okay, fine. Not to transgress things that a person prohibited upon himself. Shnemar lo yachel and devaro. His word should not be. Is this yachel from the lashon of like chulin? Like
Yeah.
you shouldn't like desecrate his word. Yeah.
Yeah.
158. Shalo yikach kohen.
I that's doing it. That seems very.
Yeah. Shlo yikach kohen zona. A kohen should not marry a zona. Shnemar isha zona lo yikachu. Now I always forget the technical definition of a zona in this context. It does not mean like a professional harlot. I mean, it would include that, but I don't think it's limited to that. Hilvos Yisur Bia. Oh, there's no hyperlink. They just list the Rambam. Yisur Bia. Oh, because it's two prakim. Yud Zayin and Yud Ches and Yud Tes. It can't be all three of them. All right, let me. We do need to look at this, I think. And I'm doing Mamre because this is not in the first three Sfarim. Sefer Kedusha, Bios Asuros, Yisur Bia. I mean, 17, 18, 19. Zona. Okay, so this is by the Kohanim. See if he defines it here. Okay, this is in the first paragraph, the first log in Isur would be 18. Mipiyash Mulamdu Hazona Ha'amur B'Torah, He Kol She'ena Bas Yisrael. So it's anyone who is not a Jewish girl. O Bas Yisrael Shenivala La'adam Shehi Asura Lihinase Lo Isur Hashave Bakol. Or it is a Jewish woman who had bia with a man that it is usher for her to be married to in a uniform way, meaning that it's equal Israel on everyone. O Shenivala Lachalal Alpha Pishihi Muteris Lihinase. Or that she had bia with a halal that alpha pishihi muteris lihinase lo, even though it is mutter for her to marry him. And so chalal, I always forgot the exact definition also. You know what chalal is?
No, but that's next to it.
Oh, it is?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Hold on, let's look at the halal.
Yeah, also what was the one before that? The uniform mister.
Yes, I think that's like something, let's say for example, this is the first example that comes to mind. So if a man and a woman are married and then they get divorced and then she marries someone else and then she divorces, so then she can't marry her husband. So I think that would be an issue that is not equal to anyone, to everyone, right? In other words, that guy, it's not like she's always usher to marry that guy. I'm sorry, it's not like everyone's usher to marry that guy. It's that something on her. But an issue that Shavu Lakol would be like relative.
I see.
So
I think.
she married a relative, then she could not marry a Kohen.
Right.
I think it's not the married.
Yeah,
Oh,
she had bia. Yeah. I that's what I think it is. I'm just gonna actually read this in the Chabad translation just to make sure I'm getting this right because we're dealing with Arayos. Yeah. See, I knew that the definition of zona was very complicated.
Yeah.
And that fits the bill. Very complicated. Okay. Isuri bia, but are we out of Mikdash?
Maybe. Well, we're still in kahuna.
Yeah, but I feel like we're in kahuna again on the way out. I don't know though. All right, so based on the oral tradition, we learned the term zona used by the Torah refers to one who is not a native-born Jewess, or a Jewish woman engaged in relations with a man she was forbidden to marry, violating the prohibition that is universally applicable.
Wait, hold on. A native-born Jewish, so she's a ger,
Gioris, yeah.
Then he wouldn't be able to marry her.
Right. Or a woman who is engaged in relations with a halal, and a halal is, footnote, a child born from a relationship forbidden to a kohen. Yeah. So it's like, I mean, this is a bad way to think about it because it's not exactly the same, but like a mamzer from kahuna, in the sense of like things that are usher, relationships that are usher for a kohen to have, the offspring of that union is a halal.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. So that was the, what was it?
Do you think halal is also a gioris?
If a gioris married a kohen, then the offspring would be a halal. Yeah.
So a gioris is a zona.
A gioris, let me just make sure I got this right here. A zona is used by everyone who's not native-born Jewish. Hold on here. Yeah. Right. Don't tell them that. Yeah. 159 is shelo yikach kohen halala, shnemar v'halala lo yikachu. Okay. 160 shelo yikach kohen gerusha. You can't marry a divorcee. Shnemar v'isha gerusha me'isha lo yikachu. A woman divorced from her husband, he cannot marry. Shelo yikach kohen gadol almana. Kohen gadol cannot marry a widow. Shnemar almana ugrusha v'halala zona. Es ela lo yikachu. So if he's lo yikach, he cannot marry all three of them. 162 shlo yivol kohen gadol almana vafilu below kiddushin. Wow, I didn't know that was a separate law. He cannot have beila with an almana even without kiddushin, even without, what does it mean afilu below kiddushin? Because she desecrates him. Shnemar lo yichalel zar'o be'amav harihu musar shelo l'chalel kshera. He cannot be machalel like kshera. I'm not understanding what's going on here. One,
he's making her.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I guess so because he's desecrating her. 162.
It's weird. There's like Jewish structures of marriage, and then it's like a framework.
Yeah.
And then there's like Kohanic structures of marriage. That seems like it's not like a few absurd, but it's like a whole framework.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I also didn't realize this. Okay, so I'm going to read this paragraph here in the Sefer Mitzvos. By this, so a high priest having intercourse with a widow. By this prohibition, the high priest is forbidden to have intercourse with a widow, even without a spousal. I've never seen that translation of kiddushin, a spousal. Okay, it is contained in his words. He should not profane his seed among his people. The explanation of this prohibition is as follows: a common priest is forbidden to marry a zona, a halala, or a divorced woman. By the prohibition, they shall not take. Taking meaning a spousal, but the penalty of whipping is not incurred until he has intercourse with her, as we've explained above. And if he has intercourse with her without a spousal, although he's forbidden to do so and is warned against it, and moreover he impairs her priestly standing, he is not liable to whipping, since it is not expressly prohibited. In the case of, so in other words, in that case, having bia with kiddushin would be worse than having bia without kiddushin in terms of this isser.
Because it's in the Torah.
No, because I guess it's for the isser expresses he shall not take, meaning through marriage. So if he is mekadesh her and then he has bia, then that's violating the express prohibition. But if he has bia without kiddushin, then that's then he can't get malchus because it's not expressly prohibited.
That's regular.
What?
Regular.
Regular coin, yeah.
Meaning like that's trudged, right? Do you know that?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, the Torah tells us the yikaf means kiddushin.
No, but but I thought that's the express one.
That's the express one. So I'm saying if he has bia with her without kiddushin, then that's the not express one.
And because we only know that through Torah, right?
I would think so. Yeah.
That's why it's not expressed.
Yeah. In the case of a high priest, however, Scripture mentions two prohibitions. First, these he shall not take, which prohibits marrying them, and secondly, he shall not profane his seed, which prohibits intercourse even without a spousal. There you go. So for the kohen gadol, for the almana, then that is even without kiddushin. Okay, that in the whole Kohanic framework, now I'm seeing how it makes sense. Yeah. Whew. Okay. Never looked at these before. Well, here's a fun one. 163. Shelo yikanes kohen lamikdash prua rosh. How do we translate prua?
Wow.
while we had
Unkempt.
unkempt, I think, right? So the Kohen should not enter the mikdash with unkempt hair. You should not unkempt your hair. 164. Shlo yikanes kohen lamikdash krua begadim. That the Kohen shall not enter the mikdash with torn garments. You should not have your garments torn. 165. So I guess we're not out of the mikdash yet. Shlo yete kohen. It's weird though that I guess it makes sense. I was gonna say it's weird. We had what the Kohen can and can't eat. Then we had like the marriage stuff, and now we're going back to like them entering into mikdash in a certain way. But I guess like those are more related to their to them being profaned, or like than just entering the mikdash.
Yeah. I think these are like about the people of the Kohanim.
Yeah.
I would have thought the Machlos Asuros would be connected to the Mikdash Machlos Asuros.
Yeah.
But I guess not.
Shelo yete kohen min ha'azara b'shas avodah. He shouldn't leave the azara at the time of avodah. You cannot leave from the opening of the tent of the meeting.
I think that's by the Miluim, wasn't it?
Yeah, that rings a bell. Yeah. In Vayikra Yud, yeah, that's Miluim. Shelo yitame kohen hedyot l'shar mesim. The kohen hedyot, regular kohen, cannot be matame for other mesim, meaning other than his relatives. Shnemar lenefesh lo yitama be'amav. He cannot become tame for a soul among his people. 167. Shelo yitame kohen gadol v'afilu l'krov. Kohen gadol cannot become tame even for his relatives. Shnemar la'avi l'imo lo yitama. Yeah. All right. Let's do one more. Shelo yikanes kohen gadol im meis. He cannot enter with a dead. Shnemar all kol nafshos meis lo yavo. Kach lamnim piyash moshu chayav beval yavo v'chayav bebal yitame. What does it mean to come in with a mace? 168.
Like bring one into the expression?
I don't know, but like, how is that not?
I don't think he's gonna be bringing fluid.
Yeah. Yeah, it says by this prohibition, a high priest is forbidden to defile himself or any dead person in any manner, whatever, whether by contact or by carrying. Yeah, and he says, lest you think possibly making that this prohibition and the preceding one are one and the same. That's what I would have thought. This is not the case. They're two separate prohibitions. Okay, fine. So he goes through and he says he's high on both of them. All right.
What, one was masa and one was maga?
No, I think this includes all forms of contact also. But in other words, if he comes in contact with the dead body, he's over on 167 and 168. Yeah. I'm gonna stop here for today. Okay.